Well, hello everyone. I hope you had a great Christmas and you got everything you wanted. I enjoyed every bit of it myself, and there is no pumpkin pie left in our house. So, I got my big drink, got some Oreo cookies right here, and I am ready to go. I saw a lot of video of guys out there talking about a wish list for the Purdue men's basketball team. No wish list is needed. Purdue is stocked full of great players right now. It's up to them and Coach Painter to continue to get better because they're good now, but they need to continue to get better to get into that mindset for later on in the year, especially April. In my small mindedness and keep it simple, stupid mindset, I say just focus on and only on the next opponent. Prepare for who's up next before worrying about a Big Ten title. It's an old cliche, but it works if you just take it one game at a time. All right, then. Enough of the old cliches and sayings about what we already know to be true, right? Let's look at the next opponent. I started watching some video on Florida A&M. Who are they? What are they? Couldn't find numbers on them, which is Purdue's next opponent, of course, on Thursday. They look rather agile and quick, but loose and free for most of their games I watched. They pushed the ball up the court nicely on fast breaks. Their defense appeared to be mostly zone, and this was against Miami earlier in the season, and still very loose, not a cohesive defense at all. They were doing a lot of chasing, particularly in the open court, which left many men wide open as Miami abused the fast break against Florida A&M. There was plenty of passing going around without a forceful problem defensively from the A&M defense, so I can see how they're struggling with stopping people from scoring. Now, it appeared that they could be muscled around on the boards also, despite having a couple of very agile big men. They stayed with Miami in the first half pretty good until about the 5-minute mark left in the half. That's when Miami put on a quick run to really be up by 41-27 by the break. Now, the second half went just as the first did, with a very wide open defense. Plenty of three-pointers and jams from the opposition, while the defense continued to trail behind, it seemed like. And that might be why they're in a zone, because they can't play man-to-man very well. But keep that in mind, because now I started watching Kentucky when they played them just a few days ago. Watching that game against Kentucky, who they just played, it was more the same, but now they did play man-to-man. Yet a lot of people were still wide open. So the defense isn't a strong suit for them at this point at all, although they pushed Oregon pretty good at times, and that was a week or two ago. Now, the main players on that team, Jalen Bates, he scores like 10 to 20 points on any given game or night. He's got a good three-point shot. Also, Jordan Tillman played solid with plenty of points and contributed seamlessly in their offensive flow. So those are the two main threats, Bates and Tillman, with other guys chipping in at times, but still not enough. They're getting beat by about 20 points every game. Some things of note in that Kentucky game, though. A&M shot 56% from three-point range. Not on like 2 out of 4 or something. They hit 9 out of 16 shots. Yet they still lost by 20 points because they're not playing good defense and they're getting really abused on the boards. So the game is Thursday at 5 p.m. It looks like that, at least at this point. Purdue has been rested for 7 days or so right now, and the Boilermakers should be fresh to take on the Florida A&M team. Hopefully no one is sick, and those who were have recovered. And I'm guessing they've worked on some of the things they need to change to get themselves a bit better, mixed with some Christmas cheer, okay? All right, Ken Pom still has Purdue in the 7th spot when I looked at it earlier. And Andy Katz just a few minutes ago, almost an hour ago, still has Purdue in the number 1 spot, despite the fact of only playing one game this week against a weak opponent. And of course, not having Zach Edey, the Boilers still rolled, and he noted that. Plus, he also noted that most of the other teams did the same thing. Very weak schedules. So, moving Purdue out of the number 1 spot generally wouldn't happen without some kind of loss. But with UConn so close, it wouldn't surprise me if they flip-flop at times during the season, if they both keep going strong. Now, the Boilers' schedule is a bit tougher than UConn, but we'll see how it goes. Now, looking at some of the stats, one of the negatives that pops out, and we all know this for Purdue, the three-point shooting percentage is only at like 31.1%. That would not be good for any team, let alone the number 1 team in the country. I, as many of you do, still believe that they will start pushing back to, say, 35, maybe even near 40% as the season goes along. We can't forget that the first 9 games they shot very well from the three-point range. It's just been the last 3 games where it's been a bugaboo. Now, meanwhile, the tough-nosed defense Purdue's known for has showed itself at times, but at others seems to be lackluster. Let's pawn it off as the men finding and getting better at defense each and every day. All of us can say it's still leaps and bounds better than last year and something we all enjoy watching. Now, offensively, teams have now seen tape on Purdue and know that when Zach passes out to the wingman almost always makes a quick pass back to someone else, passing up on an open shot if they even have it. Defenses are starting to lag back to that next pass, creating problems on the offense later in that segment. Now, the Boilermakers couldn't or could have just taken the first shot after the Zach Edey pass in the first place, couldn't they? Zach, I believe, should have like 5 or 10 assists per game, but it's only 1 or 2 at this point because no one takes the shot trying to make another perfect pass, which I'm sure Coach Painter has told them about. Truthfully, though, people are trying to make the extra pass when they really don't have to. Teams now know it and have seen it, so they are adjusting to the wingman making another pass instead of shooting. As soon as that guy starts shooting, the offense is going to open up even more. So another thing of note, I'm not still sure why many teams are pressing Braden Smith as he brings the ball up. To this point, and 300, 400 times of doing that, maybe even more, maybe 1 or 2 actually got some kind of defensive steal out of it. Yes, it disrupts the offense a bit. Yes, you might get 1 steal a game from it. But generally speaking, Braden has shown he can bring up the ball against anybody at any time. A great trait to have, especially coming out as a freshman who's only going to get better and better. So, the last game, Zach Edey being out, okay, a lot of the guys got some experience who haven't had a lot of playing time. And these are good players. It might actually be the gift that keeps on giving throughout the season. It will bode well as the Big Ten season approaches. Hopefully these guys will be able to not only compete, but add to a solid team already. Isn't it great to have like 10 starters on your team? And they all are great players, all right? Don't shy away from that. And don't get me wrong, the Big Ten season is going to be tough. Each game you're going to get the best game from your opponents. At home and on the road, I expect to see a lot of games go right down to the wire. This team has already shown in adversity it will play strong and solid basketball. They are exciting to watch, fun to root for, and exactly what college basketball should be all about. Team basketball at its best, with all the good men on the team on board to just win, baby, win. All right, so that's it for today. Everyone have a great week as it warms up later in the week, and maybe you can even get outdoors and do a few things, like pick up basketball. See you next time.
Shut up and sit down.